east, you from the west, with over 2,400 miles between us. What are the odds? What are the odds that I, a New Yorican from New York, and you, a Jew from California, with such distance between us, would migrate someday to meet America? Meet and become spiritual friends. The kind that need not brag, speak, or say anything special when hanging out together. We could simply be ourselves in silence or in speech, bound to our quirks, fears, and ambitions, to say nothing of anxieties, passions, failures, successes, and insecurities. What are the odds? Like you, I neither know nor care. The thing is, I'm sure you would agree, the miracle happened, like a random event, to afford us both a richer life, filled with joy, laughter, and much more. Like the time in South Bend, when in our old age, on our way to a university, we stopped at a red light. To our left was a high school that drew our gaze. You then looked at me, I at you, and we both fiendishly smiled. I wonder what goes on in there, you said. And our smiles turned to chuckles and then to raunchy laughter. Such good timing you had, better than mine. And the scene became quickly emblematic of our zany friendship. It didn't take much to read each other, if reading is what describes it. We met, you remember, in a crowded teacher's lounge. I was on break, while you, a substitute, slumped in a corner chair, away from the crowd and turmoil, read the phenomenology of Heidegger. Like you, I came to believe that this kind of reading was important. Once, I shared this poignant story with fellow colleagues at a meeting, to be reprimanded by you hours later. You claimed I had reduced you to buffoonery. And from your perspective, I agreed I had. But not for the reason you gave me, to get a cheap laugh at your expense. It had always meant much to me, that memory. Not because it spoke nostalgically of our meeting, but because innocently but brilliantly, much as Chaplin's tramp in film had done, to disarm pretensions, smugness, and condescensions. You, in a teacher's lounge, with being and time in your hands, did much the same. Heidegger in a 1970s teacher's lounge, when reading anything of academic value at all seemed gravely out of place. Grappling with tough ideas was no answer to Silverman's crisis in the classroom. How clueless to think phenomenology would help, or so many in education believed, but we didn't. For me, you reading Heidegger in a teacher's lounge was a subversive statement. It served to expose the discarded notes and anti-intellectualism in education at the time. It also spoke to how the language of crisis was not much of an excuse for not pursuing transcending possibilities. If you had only known and had only been clearer in explaining how that first encounter bounded us, I long to believe you understood, and I trust that by your end you knew. I remember telling how much I respected and valued your writing and way of being. I don't recall, however, ever telling you how much I cared for you. Perhaps you knew me well enough to accept that expressing such sentiments did not matter, at least sufficiently loud for you to hear them. But I loved you. I've never been a man of regrets, only of wishes. Perhaps you knew this, perhaps you didn't. Forgive me nonetheless for never saying out loud what I felt inside. Forgive me as well for skipping time at your side when you most needed comfort and care. Racing to an empty room after I heard you had left us is not comforting to one's soul. So I do lament not being at your side, and I wish I had been more caring and less selfishly anxious. Recalling the moving lyrics of La Casa Vacía troubled me. Popular in the Puerto Rico of my youth, the song speaks mournfully of a man rushing to see a dying friend, only to find his empty bed. I hoped when I heard that song, when I was young, that man would never be me. But do rest knowing, my beloved friend, that I will miss you. All that was you. Your enviable tenacity to graffiti the field and portray curriculum as soul-making, communitarianism as a guide to social and political order, and orthodoxy and ideology as bankrupt models of tempered morality, tolerance, and common sense making. Your bolero temperament, the gracious and bountiful homage you paid mentors, your wit, your laughter, your stories, your skepticism, your passion for mindfulness, intellectual honesty, and distributive justice, your love for posters, dachshunds, basset hounds, and all things Russian and quirky, your sympathies for the Jewish state and preference for red wine, your love for travel, networking, and hanging out at airports, your love for family, community, and dark humor, your preferences for baggy trousers and bulky turtleneck sweaters, your calls to get my views on an idea, subject, or project, your balding head and small rotund stature, your bushy mustache, shuffling feet, and stumbling legs, your serious but uninviting gaze, your anxious hands frequently patting your pockets as if signaling like a third base coach, your generosity, always a conversationalist interested in what others had to say, your desire to be respected and well-liked, your facial quirks when pondering an argument or vision, your preference for paternity and dislike of sloppy scholarship and academic posturing, your indecipherable writing, your impatience with the artwork and manual labor, your restlessness with mediocrity and resistance to academic sloth and moral turpitude, your love for cities, cultural and religious differences, your driving ambition to establish legacy and leave your signature on the annals of a large and major university. But more than this, I will miss your gestural innocence, projecting a kind of medieval sensibility capable of disarming all types of prima donnas, charlatans, and con artists in modernity and post-modernity America. All this I will miss. But all this I also know where to find to quiet the soul. I saw it the other night as I leafed through the leavings, a collection of Wendell Berry's musings on life and nature. As I read, I saw you wandering through the lines of two pieces in particular. So let me share with you, my good friend, what I found. Like snow. Suppose we did our work like this snow. Quietly, leaving nothing out. 2006, Roman numeral 1. If there are a chosen few, then I am not one of them. If an elect, well then I have not been elected. If I am one who is knocking at the door. I am one whose foot is on the bottom rung, but I know that heaven's bottom rung is heaven, though the ladder is standing on the earth where I work, by day and at night sleep, with my head up on a stone. Need I say more? Think you would agree to your rustling here, the way you felt, the way you labored. And there is undoubtedly more of you wandering the pages of your own published lines, for which we are blessed. So a final jest, my beloved friend, lest I overstate the welcome. I trust the ashes I am to receive are not the remains of your family jewels, or the package, as my 5-year-old grandson likes to say. I would have chosen more raunchy language to say this, as you know, had we been on less sacred ground, like meandering in conversation down a mean street or some other devilish place. But chill, my friend, for heaven's sake. Anything to keep us close, as I trust you know, is a gift not denied.